After giving birth to twins for the powerful Todd family, Victoria is drained of her blood in the delivery room to save their chosen heir, Finn, her father-in-law, leaving her lifeless with a blood-stained Lucky Charm in her hand. 7 years later, Victoria, now impoverished and scavenging the streets, is mute from the trauma of that fateful day. She raises her only daughter, Grace, alone. Meanwhile, her husband, believing her dead, visits her grave regularly, filled with regret and sorrow, unaware that she is still alive. One day, Victoria learns that Grace is being bullied at school. Rushing to the scene, she finds her daughter in tears, confronted by a small boy who is actually one of her long-lost twins, though she does not recognize him. Desperate to defend Grace, Victoria pleads with the boy just as his grandmother arrives, having never met Victoria. The grandmother shoves Victoria to the ground, anxiously checking on her grandson, oblivious to the truth connecting them all. Meanwhile, the boy demands that the mother jump, claiming it is the only way to forgive the little girl. In a desperate attempt to prove her love and save her daughter from expulsion, the mother jumps. Grace rushes to her, kneeling and begging the boy to forgive her mother. As the grandmother leaves, Victoria lies seriously injured from the fall. Grace quickly fetches water for her mother, who begins to cough up blood. In a panic, she calls for a doctor. When the doctor arrives, he determines that Victoria needs brain surgery, but cannot perform it himself. However, he knows of a skilled surgeon who can. Grace pleads to take her mother to this doctor, unaware that he is her father. Upon reaching the skilled doctor, Grace kneels and begs him to save her mother. In the chaos, her mother's Lucky Charm falls to the ground, resembling the amulet the boy had accused her of stealing. Grace cries out, "I'm not a thief. This was given to me by my mother." The doctor, intrigued, agrees to accompany her, but warns that if he discovers she lied, there will be consequences. As they arrive at their impoverished home, the doctor questions why Grace lives in such a dirty environment. She smiles and explains that she and her mother collect trash to sell for food and her school fees, emphasizing her mother's hard work and love. Unable to bear the squalor, the wealthy CEO turns to leave, but Grace grabs his hand, pleading for him to wait. When the doctor opens the door to find Victoria missing, he accuses Grace of lying about her mother's illness. Grace insists her mother might be in the bathroom, asking him to wait while she fetches her. Meanwhile, the CEO's mother, who had been observing, is curious about the amulet that resembles their family heirloom. Suddenly, they hear commotion from the backyard. Rushing outside, they find Grace crying, "Mommy, wake up!" As Victoria turns her face, the CEO's eyes widen in shock. He sees his wife, the woman he believed had died 7 years ago, brought back into his life by an unexpected twist of fate. As everyone gathered around, it was clear that Vera was present. The CEO, along with his sons and others, began praying as he desperately tried to revive Victoria, pressing on her chest. Just then, the CEO's secret admirer arrived, witnessing his frantic efforts. Filled with jealousy, she attempted to undermine Victoria's identity, claiming that the woman was merely an imposter. Ignoring her, the CEO continued his attempts to save Victoria, while Grace cried out, "Daddy, please don't give up on Mommy." Miraculously, Victoria began to stir, but failed to recognize her husband. She smiled and thanked him, leaving the CEO bewildered. He immediately ordered that she be taken to the ICU. Outside, a neighbor informed the CEO that Victoria was unable to recognize him due to memory loss from years prior. Panic set in as the CEO processed this devastating news. Meanwhile, his crush tried to further manipulate the situation, insisting that it was not Victoria. Frustrated, the CEO shouted at her, "Shut up," as he focused on his wife's recovery. While Grace remained at the hospital, anxiously hoping for her mother's recovery, Sarah, still consumed by envy towards Victoria, plotted to take advantage of the situation. As Victoria lay unconscious, receiving treatment, Sarah schemed to separate the mother. During this time, the CEO visited the school and uncovered a wealth of untold truths about Victoria's past. He learned that 7 years ago she had bled profusely during childbirth and subsequently lost her memory. The revelation left the CEO in shock, his eyes widening as he grasped the gravity of what Victoria had endured. In that moment, the CEO rushed to the hospital, joyfully embracing Victoria, who had just woken up. However, she still had no memory and asked, "Who are you?" The room fell silent, shock hanging in the air. Suddenly, Victoria began to vomit blood, prompting the CEO to urgently call for the ICU staff as he tended to her. Grace cried profusely, pleading for her mother to wake up and be healthy again. The CEO carried Victoria in his arms, rushing her to the operating room. After the surgery, he noticed a birthmark on Victoria's back, a mark he recalled from when they first met. Panic set in as he whispered to himself, "Where have you been all this while? What has happened to you, Vicky?" With determination, he called to inquire about the DNA test results regarding Victoria. Meanwhile, the doctor had already informed the little boy that the DNA confirmed Victoria was indeed his mother. Both he and his grandmother were overjoyed by the revelation. The next day, Victoria's wicked sister and her mother confronted Grace, demanding that she present herself at a press conference to denounce her mother, claiming Victoria was the cause of all their troubles. They threatened Grace with dire consequences if she refused to comply, insisting they would harm her mother and prevent any further medical treatment. Devastated by the threats, Grace reluctantly agreed to say what they wanted while the CEO watched from a distance, horrified by the coercion. He knew that Grace was being forced to lie. When he tried to intervene, he was confronted by Victoria's spiteful sister, who challenged him to mind his own business and stay out of their family affairs. Reporters were left confused, questioning why Grace would lie and who was orchestrating the deceit behind the scenes. The little girl, tears streaming down her cheeks, clutched at the stranger's legs, pleading desperately. "Please forgive me. Don't hurt my mommy," the CEO bellowed, his voice slicing through the chaos. He bolted to her side, scooping her into his arms. "Don't worry, sweetheart. I'm here. I'll protect you." She managed a watery smile. "Okay, doctor. Why so protective? Is that girl really your legitimate daughter?" At that moment, a young boy burst into the room, clutching a crumpled DNA test report. He thrust it high, his voice steady despite the stars. "Victoria is my mother. This little girl is my sister. Here's the proof. No one bullies her. She's family." Gasps echoed as jaws dropped. The CEO snatched the paper, his eyes widening in stunned recognition. Victoria's own mother, the woman who had tormented the child, collapsed to her knees, tears flowing. "Forgive me, child, I didn't know. I didn't know you were my granddaughter." The girl, overwhelmed but kind-hearted, wrapped her arms around the trembling woman. "It's okay, Grandma." They embraced amid the stunned silence, a fragile bridge of forgiveness forming. The CEO turned to leave, heart pounding, eager to race to Victoria's bedside at the hospital. Memories flooded back in full 7 years of exile, etched in every line of his face. Victoria's hand trembled to his cheek, tears spilling freely. "I thought I'd never see you again." His own eyes brimmed, voice breaking. "God, I've missed you. Every breath, every heartbeat." Their embrace was a dam breaking, sobs mingling, bodies clinging, as if the world might tear them apart once more. For a stolen moment, the room held only them, raw and real. Pulling back just enough, he cupped her face, regret carving deep. "For 7 years, you haunted my dreams. Your smile, your fire. I'm so sorry. I failed you, failed to shield you, to protect our daughter." In the charged hush following the assault, the CEO rounded on the adoptive stepsister, his collapsed into open arms, her families, her twins, the little boy and girl clinging like lifelines. Whispers of "Mommy, and we're together now." A balm over 7 years' scars. The room blooming with tentative joy. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the hospital blinds as Victoria rose, elegant in a simple dress that hugged her renewed spirit. Discharged at last, she stepped into the corridor where her children waited, eyes wide with awe. "Mommy, you look so beautiful," the little girl breathed, echoed by her brother's shy grin. Victoria knelt, cupping their faces, her smile radiant. "Thank you, my loves. You're the best gifts I've ever known." Footsteps approached, steady, sure. The CEO drew near, his hand enveloping hers in warmth. He sank to one knee, gaze locked on hers, voice thick with vow. "My beautiful wife, you've endured so much, far too much. I promise from this day I'll shield you and our children with everything I am. No one will ever harm or haunt you again. I love you for eternity." Tears glistened as Victoria nodded, her yes, a silent symphony. The family encircled them, mother, grandmother, all mended fractures glowing in the light. Laughter mingled with relieved sighs, the shadows of drama dissolving into a tapestry of togetherness. And so their story arched to its tender close.